Chosen one, the way you held yourself in this situation. That composure is quietly demolishing everything they built against you because legal consequences don't drift in like a rumor, justice circles like a storm. Questions are forming. Evidence is lining up, and when justice finally moves, it doesn't approach gently, it locks in. Elevation always follows restraint, and that's why you're still walking forward while their plan is starting to collapse behind them, and yes, there's money involved. Significant money. Life insurance money, and there was a plan that required someone not being alive anymore. Stay with me, because this is where the story takes a turn that will make your blood run cold and your spirit burn hot at the same time. Someone took out a policy. Someone forged signatures. Someone tried to make it look like you were involved in planning something you didn't even know existed. They created paperwork with your name on it. They manufactured a trail designed to smear your hands with guilt, metaphorically speaking, so if the worst happened, the blame would land on you, and they did it so carefully, so methodically, that for a moment it probably looked convincing, but here's the first fracture in their perfect plan. The hit that was ordered never happened. The death that was imagined never occurred. Whatever they set in motion fell apart before it could manifest into reality, and now all that evidence they created, those forged documents, those fake signatures, still exists, but instead of proving your guilt, it's about to expose guilt somewhere else because someone official is looking at those documents right now. Someone trained, someone experienced, someone with the authority to dig deeper, and their interpretation isn't matching what your betrayer wanted the world to see. There's someone at the center of this conspiracy, an energy that has been operating in shadows so thick you may not have even known this person existed, and somehow they're connected to your past. Maybe through someone you dated, maybe through family ties, maybe through business dealings you barely remember, but they're there, and they've been the architect of this entire scheme. They're the one who convinced others to participate. They're the one who forged signatures. They're the one who believed you could be framed and they could walk away clean. They underestimated you in ways they're about to regret for the rest of their life, because this person isn't moved by confidence, they're moved by desperation. Debts they can't pay. Legal trouble they can't outrun, a past catching up faster than they can run, and in their twisted logic, destroying you looked like the perfect solution. They studied your life and saw someone too kind to fight dirty. Someone too trusting to detect the trap until it closed. Someone with a reputation so clean that accusations would shock people into believing them. They watched you like prey and made their move believing you'd never see it coming, but while the plotting happened, while the forging, the scheming, the trap setting continued, something else was happening at the same time. The universe was watching. Your ancestors were taking notes. Divine protection was activating around you like an invisible shield, and the very systems they thought they could manipulate started working against them instead, because every piece of fake evidence has tells that professionals can spot. Every forged signature has inconsistencies forensic experts recognize. Every attempt to frame you left behind proof of the framing itself. What they thought was cleverness was actually documentation. Receipts, a trail, a map leading straight back to the hands that built it, and now there's an investigation underway, real investigator with real authority examining real evidence, and listen closely. They've already eliminated you as a suspect. They're not circling you. They're surrounding you with protection. The case being built isn't against you, it's for you, because when they studied the manufactured evidence, checked the timelines, traced the financial moves, followed the digital footprints, they saw it clearly. An innocent person being set up by desperate criminals, and the moment they saw that, everything changed. You're about to be contacted by someone official. Could be any moment soon, but it's coming, and when that call comes, when that email arrives, when that person finally speaks to you directly, you're going to realize something that will hit you like lightning. You were never being buried, you were being positioned, because this entire trap is reversing. The net they threw at you is tightening around them. Their plot is starting to testify. Their paperwork is starting to confess, and the same darkness they tried to use to erase you is about to become the spotlight that exposes them. Please upload your script. When that knock finally comes, when someone shows up at your door with credentials and a serious expression, your first instinct might be fear. Your heart may race. Your thoughts may spiral, but understand this clearly. Chosen one. That moment is not danger approaching, it is vindication introducing itself. That person isn't there to arrest you. They're there to align with you. They need your help to bring down the very people who tried to destroy you. And you're about to realize you hold far more power in this situation than you ever imagined. The investigators have already done their homework. They've studied your background, traced your finances, spoken to people who know you, and everywhere they looked, they found the same pattern. Integrity, honesty, consistency, a clean record, a history of fairness and transparency. That history is your shield. That reputation is your armor. It's protecting you more effectively than any legal defense ever could. Because when professionals see someone with your character accused of something this dark, they immediately know the problem isn't you, it's the accusation, and this is where your quiet genius truly reveals itself. Because this wasn't just passive survival, this was active intelligence. Think back to when the betrayer first began testing you, asking innocent-sounding questions that were really reconnaissance, probing how much you knew. Without even consciously realizing it, you gave them nothing useful. You shared enough to seem normal, but withheld the details that would have sharpened the blade against you. That wasn't luck, that was instinct stepping in to protect you. Remember the moments they tried to get you to sign something, documents that seemed harmless, routine, forgettable, a business agreement, a loan form, paperwork that didn't raise alarms on the surface. Yet something in you hesitated. You paused. You delayed. You said you'd review it later, have someone look at it, or simply never got around to signing. That wasn't procrastination. That was your subconscious recognizing danger before your conscious mind could name it. By refusing to sign, by slowing the process, you denied them access to your authentic signature, blocking a critical step in their plan before you even knew a plan existed. And then there were the moments you almost broke, the times you were so hurt, so angry, so betrayed that you nearly lashed out, nearly sent that message, nearly exposed everything, nearly fought fire with fire, but you didn't. And that restraint wasn't weakness, it was strategic brilliance, because had you reacted, had you descended into chaos, your behavior would have been weaponized against you, framed as instability, aggression, motive. You were being baited, provoked, tested, and you didn't bite. You swallowed the pain, processed it privately, and refused to hand them ammunition. That is elite self-control, and here's another stroke of brilliance you may not even recognize yet. You kept living. You kept showing up. You went to work. You followed your routines. You honored your responsibilities. You didn't let betrayal paralyze you, and in doing so, you created a public record of normalcy, witnesses, timelines, evidence that showed you were functioning, grounded, not spiraling, not plotting, and not operating from darkness. Your decision to keep moving forward built a wall of ordinary truth that makes the accusations against you look absurd, and all the while, psychological warfare was being waged against you, the gaslighting, the manipulation, the moments you were pushed to doubt your own memory, your own perception, your own sanity. That wasn't confusion. That was torture, a deliberate attempt to destabilize your reality, but it didn't work because you're still standing, still clear, still intact, and now the very pressure meant to break you is becoming the proof that exposes them, and yet through all of it you held on to your truth beneath the doubt being planted, beneath the confusion being engineered. You knew what you knew. You trusted your experiences. You believed your own memory. That core of self-trust is what kept you sane while active efforts were being made to convince you that you were losing your mind. Your betrayer was counting on that erosion, counting on you doubting yourself so deeply that you'd stop trusting your instincts. Confusion was necessary. Second-guessing was essential, because if you trusted yourself, you'd sense the danger, and you did. Even when you couldn't fully articulate what was wrong, you felt it. You refused to be talked out of your own perception, and that refusal kept you alert. It kept you from walking into the trap blindfolded. And let's talk about the financial intelligence you displayed, because it mattered more than you know. You didn't give access to your accounts even when asked. You didn't co-sign no matter how much pressure was applied. You didn't invest just because something was dressed up as once in a lifetime. Something in you protected your resources. Something insisted on separation, on security, and now that instinct is saving you from being tangled in money laundering, fraud, or financial crimes that were quietly being staged with your name attached. You also handled manufactured emergencies with wisdom, because yes, emergencies were created. Sudden crises, urgent requests, situations designed to rush you into giving money, access, or support without time to think. And while you helped sometimes, you didn't help every time. You set limits. You said no. You chose self-respect over guilt. Those boundaries prevented you from becoming deeply entangled, and now that distance reads like evidence of innocence. Notice how you responded when attempts were made to turn you against others, when negativity was planted, when someone you both knew was spoken about with venom, when you were subtly invited to judge, condemn, or conspire. You didn't fully buy in. You listened, maybe nodded to keep peace, but you didn't absorb the hatred. You didn't inherit their enemies. You kept your own discernment, and that independence of thought is protecting you now, because when investigators speak to others, they don't find a pattern of you participating in schemes or drama. They find neutrality, restraint, someone who didn't get pulled into conspiracies. Your genius also showed in the questions you asked, the moments you pushed back, requested clarification, asked why or how or what's the purpose of this. You didn't blindly comply. You sought understanding, and every question slowed manipulation. Every pause bought you time. Every inquiry disrupted control. What felt like curiosity was actually resistance. There were moments you chose silence over sharing, moments you kept parts of yourself private, moments you didn't reveal everything just because someone wanted access. That discretion protected information that would have been weaponized. Fishing expeditions were happening, and you didn't give them what they were hunting for. You held parts of yourself back. You stayed sealed. That wasn't secrecy, that was emotional intelligence. Protective wisdom moving through you. And think about all the energy you refused to engage with, the arguments you declined, the drama you walked away from, the provocations you ignored. Reactions were being baited. You were being pushed to become defensive, emotional, explosive, anything that could be recorded, twisted, and used, but you didn't perform. You didn't give them the spectacle they needed. You chose calm over chaos, restraint over reaction. And that choice, repeated again and again, is why the narrative against you is collapsing now, because the truth is clear, consistent, and documented. You didn't fall apart. You didn't participate. You didn't become what they needed you to be, and now everything they tried to use against you is becoming the very thing that exposes them. You didn't give them the show they were hoping for. You stayed calm where chaos was required. You stayed quiet where screaming would have served their narrative. You stayed dignified in moments where degradation was carefully planned, and that wasn't just emotional maturity, that was strategic brilliance along the way. You probably caught small lies, tiny inconsistencies, subtle contradictions in stories and timelines. You noticed them. You didn't always confront them, because something in you knew this wasn't about winning an argument, it was about understanding the full picture. So you remembered. You filed those details away, and now those small lies are revealing themselves as pieces of a much larger pattern of deception. Your attention to detail, your ability to remember inconsistencies without reacting impulsively, is about to become invaluable to investigators who are tasked with proving intent and exposing dishonesty over time. Think about how you handled technology, what you gave access to and what you didn't. You didn't hand over passwords just because you were asked. You didn't add people to your accounts for convenience. You kept your phone locked. You limited location sharing. You maintained digital privacy even when it was framed as mistrust, and now those boundaries are protecting you. Your devices couldn't be accessed to plant evidence. Your accounts couldn't be used to manufacture transactions. Simple acts of digital discretion became shields against elaborate schemes. Your wisdom also showed in how you handled apologies. When your betrayer felt you pulling away and tried to reel you back in with tears, promises, and emotional performances, you may have forgiven on the surface. You may have said the words they wanted to hear, but you didn't forget. You didn't surrender your discernment. You gave another chance without giving full access. You stayed watchful. That ability to forgive without becoming foolish, that is rare wisdom. Consider the legal and official steps you instinctively took. Maybe you consulted a lawyer for something unrelated and mentioned this situation in passing. Maybe you documented strange events in emails or notes to yourself. Maybe you made reports or filed complaints that felt minor at the time but now fit into a much larger pattern. Your instinct to create records, to make things official, to involve third parties, that instinct was protecting you. You were creating a paper trail that contradicts the false story being built, and let's talk about the spiritual practices that grounded you. Maybe you prayed more. Maybe you meditated. Maybe you journeyed. Maybe you sought guidance from spiritual leaders or trusted mentors. Whatever kept you connected to something greater than yourself was anchoring you in truth. Those practices weren't just comfort, they were protection. They kept you aligned when lies were being weaponized. They kept divine protection active even when you couldn't see it working. Your betrayer likely tried love bombing you at different points, flooding you with attention, affection, gifts, promises, grand gestures meant to overwhelm your doubt, and maybe part of you enjoyed it in the moment, but you didn't let the performance erase your perception. You held both realities at once, the warmth of the present and the shadows of the past. You didn't allow good behavior today to cancel bad behavior yesterday. That's emotional sobriety. That's refusing to be manipulated by intermittent reinforcement. And look at the physical spaces you protected: your home, your car, your workspace. You didn't give unrestricted access to every environment. You kept some territories sacred, private, yours alone, and that physical boundary kept evidence from being planted. Scenes couldn't be staged, belongings couldn't be tampered with. Your natural need for personal space became a barrier against physical manipulation. And finally, considers how you presented yourself to the world through all of this: steady, composed, consistent. While chaos was being engineered behind the scenes, you remained visibly grounded, and that consistency, that quiet strength, is now speaking louder than any accusation ever could. Chosen one, you didn't suddenly reinvent yourself. You didn't dramatically change your appearance. You didn't start moving through the world like someone unstable, erratic, or suspicious. You stayed consistent with who you've always been, and that consistency is an alibi in plain sight. It's proof you weren't undergoing the kind of shift that often precedes violent or criminal behavior. You remained recognizably you. Steady, predictable, trustworthy. That stability isn't just good character, it's evidence. It's the quiet kind of proof that can't be forged, because it lives in patterns: how you show up, how you speak, how you carry yourself, how you keep your life running even when your emotions are under siege. And your betrayer, they were watching, monitoring your social media, scanning your posts, checking your interactions, tracking your mood through captions, looking for anything that could be twisted into motive or opportunity. But without even fully knowing why, you became more private online. You shared less. You posted fewer details about where you were and what you were doing. You stopped feeding the surveillance machine. That wasn't just being cautious, that was self-preservation. Your digital quietness became digital safety, and you already know these attacks weren't random. If you're paying attention, you can feel it: the walls are closing in on them. Their timeline is collapsing. Their lives are starting to suffocate under their own weight. Now, let's talk about what you're doing about it, because you are not sitting helpless while this unfolds. This is why I built Destiny Engine, a system designed to generate personalized sequences that rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and convert their downfall into your rise. We're taking the dark elite's own weapons, declassified consciousness technology built to program competition, scarcity, and fear, and we're repurposing it for cooperative intelligence, restoration, and elevation. And the beauty is, you don't have to fight. You don't have to chase. You don't have to prove yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious begins rewiring while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is why it was created. So everything they tried to use to break you becomes fuel for your calling. The collective upgrade is already underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. And here's what's happening on the practical, earthly side too. Professional investigators are extremely skilled at spotting a frame job. They've seen this pattern before. They know how guilty people behave when cornered. They recognize the fingerprints of manufactured evidence. They understand the difference between nervousness caused by hiding something and nervousness caused by confusion, because you genuinely don't understand why questioning is even happening. When they spoke to the people trying to implicate you, they saw panic, desperation, stories that shifted mid-sentence, details that didn't align. But when they talk to you, they're going to see something entirely different. They're going to hear the truth: simple, direct, consistent truth, and that truth is going to fill gaps they couldn't close without you, because you witnessed things you didn't realize were significant at the time. You heard conversations that sounded normal but were actually planning sessions disguised as casual talk. You noticed behaviors that confused you then, but now make perfect sense in context, and all of that information is stored in your mind, waiting to be accessed. When you begin sharing it with people trained to listen, you're going to be shocked at how valuable your testimony is. Not because you're trying to help, but because you're carrying details that act like keys, and those keys unlock the whole scheme. And more than that, the investigators are going to recognize something in you, a skill set you may not have known you possessed. Maybe it's your ability to recall details with unusual clarity. Maybe it's how you read people and energy shifts. Maybe it's your intuition for when something doesn't add up. Whatever it is, they're going to notice it, and they may hint that this won't be a one-time conversation. They may mention ongoing cooperation, consulting opportunities, maybe even employment, because agencies dealing with complex fraud and deception are always looking for people who can see through manipulation without becoming contaminated by it. Integrity plus insight is rare, and you have both, and there's a specific person on the investigative side who is going to matter in your story, an individual who carries authority with grace. Protective but professional, firm but fair. This investigator is going to make sure you're treated correctly throughout the process. They'll shield you from any attempts to twist your cooperation into something negative. They'll ensure your rights are respected, your voice is heard, and your time and contribution are acknowledged appropriately. This person will become a stabilizing force, someone you didn't expect, but someone placed in the narrative at exactly the right time, because even in systems chosen one, divine timing still moves. That investigator is part of your divine protection team, even if they don't consciously know it yet. Trust them when you meet them, because while you've been grounded in truth, the people who tried to destroy you are still living inside an illusion. They believe they got away with it. They assume the plan worked. They may even be congratulating themselves for how clever they think they were, but that illusion is about to shatter so completely they'll never recover from the impact. The first crack comes the moment investigators reach out, not to them as witnesses, but as suspects, and in that instant, when it finally hits them that professionals are scrutinizing them, panic will spill out in ways they can't control. They'll double down on the lies. They'll point at you harder. They'll insist you're the criminal and they're innocent, but every word will sink them deeper, because investigators have already seen the evidence, traced the money, examined the signatures, and built a timeline that exposes the lie. Desperation makes people sloppy, and your betrayers are about to become very sloppy. Very fast as the investigation expands, more proof will surface: digital messages they thought were erased, transactions they believed were hidden, and witnesses they never realized were paying attention. Piece by piece, the puzzle will assemble into undeniable truth. Their complete guilt and your complete innocence, and somewhere along the way, someone in their circle will crack. Someone will choose self-preservation over loyalty. Someone will make a deal. Someone will tell everything. When that first domino falls, the rest will follow in rapid succession: arrests, charges, court dates, the full weight of the justice system landing with a force no one expected. They thought they were playing a game. They're about to learn what it means to have real law enforcement focused on taking them down, and through it all, you'll be watching from a place of safety and vindication, not in handcuffs, not facing charges, not having your life dismantled, but standing as the witness whose clarity helps justice land. That role, that position is your power. What was meant to destroy you is becoming the catalyst for your elevation. The investigation meant to implicate you is opening doors you never knew existed. Those skills investigators noticed, they're about to turn into real opportunity: consulting roles, paid work, invitations to review evidence, chances to speak with people who open up because they trust your integrity. Some of you will discover a calling you never suspected, that your mind sees patterns others miss, that your intuition reads people with precision, that your commitment to truth makes you invaluable in a world saturated with deception, and you'll face a choice. Return to your old life when this ends, or step into the new path unfolding before you. Either way, you'll choose from power, not victimhood. This process will take time: procedures, evidence, interviews, legal steps, but that's fine. While justice moves steadily forward, you are protected. You are safe. Nothing is coming for your home. Nothing threatens your peace. You're held inside a bubble of divine protection that cannot be breached, no matter how hard anyone tries. There may be depositions. You may testify in court, and if you've never done that before, yes, it can feel intimidating, but remember this. You are telling the truth, and the truth is the easiest thing to carry because it actually happened. You don't have to rehearse it. You don't have to keep stories straight. You simply report what you know. Speak clearly. Take your time. If you don't understand a question, ask for clarification. If you don't know an answer, say you don't know. Never guess under oath. Truth is your power here, and it will carry you through every room you enter. Eventually, much of this will resolve. Cases will close. Sentences will be handed down. Your role as a witness will conclude, and you will step into the next chapter of your life with this chapter behind you, but you will not be the same person. You'll be stronger, wiser, more aware of human darkness, yet infinitely more confident in divine protection. You'll have proof that standing in truth matters. You'll have lived evidence that the universe has your back, and that knowing will permanently change how you move through the world. Some of you feel it right now. Your heart is racing. Certain details are landing too close. You're wondering if you're truly safe. You're wondering if someone really was planning something terrible involving you, and the answer is this. Yes, someone likely was planning something, but here's what matters more. The fact that you're seeing this now, that you're aware in this moment, is protection activating. This is the universe giving you a warning before harm reaches you. This is your spiritual radar coming online. Your ancestors are present in this. Those who came before you, who survived betrayals, who faced injustice, who endured battles you never even heard about, are standing with you now. Their wisdom is available. Their strength is flowing through your bloodline into this moment. You come from survivors. You come from warriors. You come from people who refused to be broken by circumstances that would have destroyed others. That same resilience lives in you, and it's activating right now. There is poetry in how this ends. The person who tried to bury you is buried by their own scheme. The trap they set snaps shut on them instead. The evidence they manufactured points back to their guilt. The systems they thought could be manipulated expose the manipulation, and you stand there clean, clear, vindicated, watching it unfold with a calm that only comes from knowing you never betrayed yourself. People will ask how you did it, how you stayed composed, how you didn't lash out, how you didn't seek revenge, how you maintained dignity when chaos would have been justified, and your answer will be simple. You trusted. You trusted truth would surface. You trusted justice would prevail. You trusted the universe had your back, and you were right. That trust, that faith, that refusal to let someone else's darkness pull you into darkness, that is what saved you. That is what made you a genius. You are a genius for how you handled this, not because you executed some elaborate strategy, but because you did something profoundly simple and incredibly difficult. You stayed in your integrity. You refused to compromise your values when retaliation would have been easier. You chose long-term truth over short-term revenge. You took the high road even when the low road was calling your name, and that consistent choice to remain who you are regardless of who others chose to be is the genius that's about to pay dividends beyond your imagination. The divine is moving in your favor. Doors you didn't know existed are opening. Opportunities you never considered are presenting themselves. People with the power to change your trajectory are noticing you, and it's happening because you passed the test. You proved you could hold character under pressure. You showed you could be trusted with more because you were faithful with what you had, and understand this blessing coming isn't only for you. It's for everyone else who was harmed by these people. Your willingness to cooperate, to speak truth, to share what you know, to help build the case, this is bigger than personal vindication. This is restoration. This is justice rippling outward. This is the end of their pattern and the beginning of your elevation. Protect future victims. It will stop harm before it ever reaches them. It will shine light into places where corruption believed it could operate forever without consequence. So when you step into your role, when you give testimony, when you share what you know, understand this clearly. You are not just saving yourself. You are saving others. You are part of something far bigger than your own story. This is the nature of chosen ones. Your battles are never just personal. Your victories ripple outward. Your resilience strengthens people you will never meet. Your refusal to be broken becomes hope for those still trapped in their own storms. So move through this knowing that eyes are on you, not just human eyes, but spiritual ones watching how you navigate pressure, truth, and power. And when you come through with grace, head held high, integrity intact, you become a lighthouse for those still lost at sea. The months ahead may feel intense. There will be moments of exhaustion, moments when you wonder if fighting for truth is worth the cost. When that happens, return to what you know in your deepest self. Remember, you didn't ask for this, but you are not running from it. Remember that the same force that parts seas and moves mountains is moving on your behalf right now. Remember that you are protected, guided, and loved by forces that never sleep, never waver, and never fail. The genius you displayed by holding yourself together in this storm is about to pay dividends beyond anything you imagined. The composure you maintained when panic would have been understandable. The integrity you kept when compromise would have been easier. The trust you held when appearances tried to shake it, all of it was preparation, all of it was leading here and somewhere beyond time and space. Your ancestors are smiling because you proved you are made of the same unbreakable material. Justice is coming, chosen one. Truth is rising. Vindication is approaching, and you are about to witness a reversal so profound it restores faith in what is good and right. The spider thought you were trapped in the web, but you were never the prey. You were always the one who would walk free while others became tangled in their own creation. Welcome to your new chapter. Welcome to your elevation. Welcome to the life you prepared for simply by being yourself. The genius was never in defeating your enemies with strategy. The genius was becoming so aligned with truth that no strategy was needed. Truth defended itself. Integrity spoke for itself. Character stood on its own, and now you step forward knowing you are exactly who you've always claimed to be: honest, honorable, protected, blessed, and untouchable by those who operate in darkness. Stand tall, square your shoulders, lift your chin. Look this situation directly in the eye with the certainty of someone who knows they are on the right side of history, the right side of justice, and the right side of divine will. You didn't start this fight, but you are finishing it. You didn't create this chaos, but you are emerging victorious. You didn't ask for this test, but you are passing it with colors so bright everyone can see it. Your betrayer is about to learn the hardest lesson of their life, and you are about to learn the most beautiful lesson of yours. When you stand in truth, when you protect your integrity, when you trust the universe and refuse to become what tried to break you, the entire cosmos moves in your favor. The doors opening now exist because you proved worthy. The opportunities arriving are rewards for character under fire. The vindication unfolding is the universe confirming that your way of being was right all along. So be it, and so it is. You are an absolute genius, not because you were perfect, but because you were real. Not because you never felt fear, but because you moved forward anyway. Not because you had all the answers, but because you trusted the one who does. This is your moment, chosen one. This is your vindication. This is your elevation.